Hello everybody and welcome back to Bailey's TV Rants. We are going to continue with Surreal Estate. Obviously, the whole reason I came back to do this. Before we get into that, TV updates. I've been getting back into watching SNL. Okay, watching it live because I live on the West Coast, so it's on at 8:30 and not 11:30 or whatever time it comes on the East Coast. So I'm watching it live. Last night's episode, I'm recording this on a Sunday, so that's why last night was Kate McKinnon with musical guest Billie Eilish. And if y'all know me, I love both of those ladies. All right. Kate McKinnon is one of my all-time favorite SNL cast members. I know she's not a part of the cast anymore, but it was great to have her come back and host. She did a very, very good job. Very, very funny. SNL has kind of been going downhill a little bit. The writing and the sketches just aren't, as, I don't know, like dumb, stupid, funny as they used to be. And I don't blame the cast. Like, that's not really on them. They can only do their best. It's more like writing of the sketches. So yeah, but this episode, anyways, Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig came back. They were in a sketch or two, and that was really funny. Also some of my all-time favorites, obviously. Yeah, and then Billie Eilish made an appearance in one of their commercial skits. And then the sketch at the very, very end, The Kittens Are Us, which is one of my favorite reoccurring bits. And she did a very good job. Her and Kate McKinnon in sketches together are hilarious. I remember last time Billie was on, she was hosting, and Kate McKinnon was still part of the cast. And they did a very, very funny bit about it was a hotel commercial. It was funny. Anyways, yes. So it was a very, very enjoyable episode. I love it. SNL is getting there. Last night, I think having Kate McKinnon was really nice, and she could definitely step up those sketches. And yeah, so SNL going okay. Still watching The Crown. I'm almost done with season 5. And there's 6 seasons, with the 6th being the most recent one and the last one. I've seen a little bit about the ending and everything, but nothing too spoilery. Really getting into the heat of Princess Diana and Charles's separation. Like, they're out and Diana's about to like spill some tea on it. So that's super exciting. I'm like on episode 8 of season 5. Excuse me. So yeah, super fun. That's my outside this updates. So back with Surreal Estate. Last episode was the pilot. It was okay. Obviously nothing like too exciting, because they're not going to do something like super like attention grabbing and stuff in the very beginning. It's pilots are generally kind of like set up the premise of the show, and I thought it did that well. I did mention it was very jumpy between the A and the B plot line. And which is like not something you see a lot like in a pilot, but it was to set up important characters, which was Luke Roman, the main guy, our lovely Tim Rozon, and Susan Ireland, who is the newcomer to the Roman agency, and her telekinesis abilities. Also Sarah Levy, whichever the last name is, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. That's who plays Susan. I remembered it now. Okay, so good pilot. This episode I feel was a great step up from the pilot. So season 1, episode 2, the Harvey. We start off with a little flashback. 8 months ago, the address was, I actually wrote that down, this address wrong. I know that name's not right. Well, doesn't matter actually. So 8 months ago at this house, or outside the house, we can hear a family inside, just kind of chit-chatting, having some family time. And then it pans and the windows just start shutting and shutting and shutting till it goes all the way down the front. Then the lights shut off. Doosh. People start screaming. Things are happening inside that we can't see. A body, it looks like a man, slams up against the living room window on the first floor, and then, you know, does that slide down sort of thing. We pan over to a Roman agency sign saying the house is for sale. And then the house blows up, I think. And it's on fire. The Roman agency is on fire. Cut, intro, present day. Here we go. All right. I think I wrote a lot for this episode. This had a lot of details in it, which is nice, and I like that. Okay, present day. We are at a different house, 12 Marion Drive, and a dad walks out. No, he doesn't walk out. I can't read my own notes. He walks in on his son in their house, in the room upstairs, talking to his stuffed animal. At least that's what the son says. And the dad's like, all right, well, you can tell your stuffed animal, it's time to go to bed. So, you know, go to bed, shut up. But this little boy's not talking to his stuffed animal, of course. He's really talking to a little girl. And they're talking a little bit, and she's a little upset that this boy is leaving. She won't have anybody to play with, so I'm guessing this family is moving out. And then we'll get into the bit where they, do all this stuff with the realtors and surreal estate. Anyways, so that is, this looks like it's gonna be the house that we're looking into now. So we cut to the Roman agency office. Susan is walking into the kitchen. Zoe is there. Her name is Zoe, by the way, spelled with 2 O's on the subtitles, weirdly. I'm not sure if that's correct. And they're trying to make coffee, and, you know, they're bumping into each other a little bit. Susan's trying to, like, get the vibes of the new place, you know, kind of like, what's everybody doing, you know? And Zoe doesn't like Susan. Susan is in the way of her, like, routine at the office and kind of in her space. And she's not vibing with that. And Zoe's job, by the way, is the office manager. Wasn't sure what she was doing in the pilot episode, but on the recap, they said that it was also said in the first episode, and I did not hear it. Anyways, while they're at the office, Luke and Susan head out. Luke wants to give Susan a proper Roman agency orientation, really take her on a test drive through a property, kind of selling a job. And so they're heading over to this house that we saw earlier, this 12 Marion Drive, where 2 past, like, buyers, interested people, have all, like, dropped out real quickly. One of them just, like, bolting, running out of the house. So something interesting is going on. And so while they're in the car, you know, Luke and Susan are talking. Susan brings up Megan Donovan, which was the person who owned the house that we were dealing with in the pilot episode. And Susan's like, Luke, you kind of have the hots for her. And Luke's like, haha, no, me, what? Psh, no, I can't. And this is because they pass by the Donovan house, and they both, like, kind of turn and look at it, and Susan can kind of see the look in Luke's eye, but also stuff with his mom also happened at that house, so we'll leave it at that. But Luke obviously denies it, and Megan is in a relationship. She does have a fiance, and she's also a client, so that would be weird. Mad respect, Luke. He knows boundaries. So at this new house that they're looking at, the family at the house doesn't believe in, like, paranormal. They don't believe in spirits, ghosts, blah blah blah. And they say they're Presbyterian. I am not a religious person, so the exact details of the Presbyterian denomination, it is it's a denomination of Christianity, if you are unfamiliar. I don't know the details, so I can't fact check that, but we're gonna go with it. The main point is they don't believe in this stuff. Anyways, but Susan is real eager on this job, and she reassures this couple that the Roman agency can do the job, and we can help you sell your house. Yeah. So little boy, they're walking around the house. They go upstairs. Little boy comes out of his room and tells him and tries to like talk to his mom, and the mom's like, "Hey, we're a little busy." Luke comes over, says hi, but scares the little boy away, and Luke can sense something about this boy is off. Something is going on here. He's got it's like a sixth sense, you know? Then we cut to the boy, the son. His name is Jamie. He's in the backyard. He's playing on the playground, on the swing set in their backyard. And this little girl is with him. The same little girl from earlier. Her name is Cindy. She's, you know, blonde, like pigtail braids with little red bows at the end to tie him off, and this like red and white like kind of checker print, like smaller sort of dress. I don't know. Susan says the pattern later in the episode, and I can't remember what it's called. Very 50s, 60s, or older probably type of vibe. Anyways, so Jamie and Cindy are talking, and Cindy is upset that he's leaving because she won't have anybody to play with her anymore. So this is like a sort of imaginary friend, because obviously Jamie's like the only one who can like see her. And then she gets real dark and threatens that she's gonna you know, like, oh, if I don't have any more, I'll just jump off the roof and kill myself. Which, first of all, technically, I don't think you're alive anyway, so killing yourself doesn't quite make sense. But hey, whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. Yeah, and dying, and it's all gonna be Jamie's fault. And then, while she's saying it's gonna be your fault, her voice drops, and her eyes go black. So, you, ma'am, are not just a ghost. You are some demon hellspawn, and I'm not vibing with it. Nope. I'm okay, thank you. Anyways, back at the Roman agency, Luke is going over this new house, which we are now going to call the Quincy house, or the Quincy property, whatever I decide to write in my notes. Points out to everybody, hey, I think this boy has a secret. And so like him and Phil are going back and forth, like maybe it could be a Harvey or a Lassie. We'll get into what those are in a second, because I don't even know what those are. End of the meeting, or like any other points, and Susan's like, actually, yes. So she is once again really eager about this job and tries to get things moving and everything, and so she's like trying to organize the workflow. So she's asking for files from Phil about things, but she's like, those are my files, I kind of keep them to myself, to kind of make a database. And she's trying to coordinate times to go to the Quincy house with August, because there's a plumber coming, but Quincy needs to do his like investigative stuff, just to kind of get a baseline of everything. And they're not too happy about this. Zoe almost gets a word in, something about sticking it up her ass, but Luke cuts her off and ends the meeting there. And so everybody walks out. Susan sticks around. Oh no, they stick around because Luke wants a word with her. So Susan is just kind of asking Luke about the lingo, like what's a Harvey? A Harvey is shorthand for imaginary friend. And a Lassie is a helpful spirit that latches onto a living being, usually a child. And so she's kind of going over like all the company lingo and everything. So in these meetings, she's not like totally confused. And Susan's like, everybody hates me. And Luke's like, no, nobody hates you. We actually need you. But, you know, like Susan is obviously at this point trying to do things the way she knows how to do them. But with this job that she's in and this very, very particular and specific company that she works for, that might not work because she doesn't know what she's dealing with, obviously. Yeah, so So Susan is at the Quincy house. She's working on staging it, and she's still trying to coordinate times with August. You know, she's on the phone with Zoe, who is the office manager, so that's her job. She hears noise. She hears a little girl crying in the closet. She's like freaking the fuck out, right? Nothing's in there, and then Cindy appears behind her. Sneaky bitch. She's like, I'm in the closet. No, I'm not. And the actress, the little like girl that plays Cindy, did a really good job actually. Like that was like surprisingly well done, like for a creepy little girl, you know, like especially like the manipulative like kind of thing that we get into later, like very well done. So yeah, so Cindy's on the bed in Jamie's room, and she's like trying to like get Susan to do something for her, like this doll Betsy that she needs or whatever, and Susan's like, huh, and then she disappears. My initial thought was like there's like some things in like paranormal like shows or movies where the like entity will need you to like do something for it to attach itself to, so that's what I thought was happening. But I think Cindy's just manipulating her at this point just to make her seem like she is really a little girl, and she's not. And we know that. We know she's not a little girl. Anyways, so she gets on the phone because August calls, which also like scares her because the phone just starts ringing, and she's like obviously scared out of her mind right now. And so Susan tells August about the little girl, and he's like, okay, I'm already coming, I'll be there in a bit, but call Luke about this. So she calls Luke, describes the girl, and Luke's like, get some stuff from Father Phil, I'll be in the office, I just need to run an errand first. What is said errand? At the Donovan house. Whoop whoop. Yeah, so he's there to kind of take pictures just to make sure the house, like in the past, like it's like changed behind his back, so when he looks at it it's one way, when he turns around something else changes, so he takes pictures both ways, as like one he's doing this and one if kind of like in a selfie position. But obviously Megan pops in, and they're chit-chatting. Luke is just giving her an update about the job and all the things they need to do and everything. Yeah, a little chit-chat, funny, flirty a little bit, obviously, but once again, Megan has a fiance, and he does come out on the porch in his underwear. I mean, he has a shirt on, but it's his shirt and underwear, and Megan's like, what are you doing? Kids go down the street, go put on some pants. And she walks inside and they say bye-bye. Yeah. Back at the Quincy house. What if I just put bingo right there? That's so funny. Oh my god. Just kidding. I'll put her here. Susan heads up into the attic to kind of see everything. We cut to Phil, a little bit of back and forth here, is at the office with Luke, and he can't find anything on a little girl, like any history about that on the Quincy house. And they were like, him and both Luke think it would be a bold move for like a Harvey. Like, this doesn't seem like a situation where a Harvey would be. Back to the Quincy house. Susan is seeing things are moving around. A big ass raven comes in, breaks the window, she falls, and August appears over her, and she's just like, she's scared shitless. But Luke told Phil that she wasn't scared, to give her some like cred, you know. So back at the office, everybody's there now, kind of in the conference room. They're putting together a model of what this little girl looks like, and to me it looked like they were playing The Sims. And you know, when you start to make somebody on Sims, like it looked like that, and it was really funny. And Zoe is helping Susan clean up a little bit. She has some cuts on her arm from, I'm assuming, the glass from the window, so they're doing that. So Luke comes in, he sees everything, but then he kicks everybody out so he could talk with Susan. Lots of talks for them today. So Susan immediately like jumps on the like conversation, and she has people that want to look at the house, but Luke pays no attention. He pulls up news footage from the house from 8 months ago. So the cold open of the episode at the very beginning when we saw the house, that's what he's bringing up right now. He shows her this clip and everything, and he does this to get Susan to understand that the things they deal with are real and they are dangerous and they will kill you. And they can't rush into selling anything until the house and a property is properly dealt with, because this shit will happen. Okay? I failed these people because we didn't take it seriously enough, and now they're all dead. And it's my fault. Pretty much what he said. Yeah. And he's like, you might want to learn to do things our way. Okay, so that fucking shit doesn't happen again. I'd appreciate it, thank you. Yeah, Susan is very eager to do things. This job, great. But she, like, when you get a new job, you generally, like, take the back seat and, like, learn the ropes a little bit to, like, get the vibe of the place and what you need to doing and how things are done. And she just doesn't care, because she just, like, to her, like, this is another real estate agency and she knows how to be a realtor. Like, she's already done that. This isn't like a new job to her. So anyways, she's stubborn is what we're getting at here. So all right, cut to the Quincy house. The mom gets home and sees Jamie on the roof. Crazy. Obviously she doesn't see Cindy either. But Jamie is up there trying to get Cindy not to jump off the roof. And mom and dad don't see her, and Cindy actually, like, fakes jumping, but she ends up just, like, floating and levitating off of the roof. Really weird. Anyways, then we see Luke over at the Quincy house. He's talking with the dad, kind of like arguing. Like, the dad's like really upset, and like Jamie won't tell them who she is. Because as Jamie was on the roof, it's like, she's gonna jump, like blah 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 blah. And they're like, who are you talking about? And so Jamie still won't tell them who this little girl is. And the dad's obviously upset, because, like, this shouldn't happen. Why is my son, what's going on with this house? Why is my son on the roof? They're gonna jump off the roof. And he's like, do your job. Even though they don't believe in what his job is, really. Interesting. Yeah. So Luke goes over to talk with the little boy Jamie, and Jamie ends up telling Luke that the girl's name is Cindy. Now Jamie explains that he's really not supposed to talk about her because they can't be friends anymore, and Cindy will hurt somebody if Jamie tells anybody about her. So kind of having this conversation, and Luke ends up telling Jamie, like, don't listen to Cindy. Like, if she says to do something that's gonna hurt you or somebody, don't do it. Which is good advice, like, in general about life, like, obviously, but in this situation especially. But Jamie's like, yeah, I would, but, like, she's my only friend, so I'm gonna listen to her, you know? And Luke goes on saying, like, you know, you and I are a lot alike. Like, I was like you, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and I still don't have a lot of friends, but the ones I do now are, like, really, really good friends, which is super sweet. Made me cry. Yeah, so a contractor comes in to fix the window in the attic. Luke and Susan are up there watching over a little bit. Luke obviously reminds Susan, no showing until they fix this problem with Cindy. Gotta get her out of there, okay, so we don't hurt anybody else. So Luke steps out of the attic, and Susan strikes up a little convo with the repair guy, and he's, like, talking over theater. I don't remember what show it is, but it's something with theater. And as she ends the conversation, she gets a call from another interested buyer and tries to tell him, like, I can't show you the house right now. But this guy really knows how to talk to him. He's like, I'll pay in cash. Cash. And she's like, okay, come in at 8 a.m. So she's not following the rules. So back in Jamie's room, Cindy knows Jamie talked to Luke, and now she's like, I gotta hurt somebody so you freaking learn your lesson, right? Told you not to tell anybody. And so they go over to the window that overlooks the front yard, and Cindy makes the mom and dad, the mom with garden shears and the dad with the lawnmower, just start heading for each other, guns ablazing, ready to go. And then they just stop right in front of each other. And Jimmy's like, oh my God, like, what the heck? And then he turns, and there's Cindy behind him with his pet hamster. This is crazy to me. I can't believe they did this. And Cindy kills his hamster, whose name was Josh. But she just like crushes it in her hand. And I was like, that's crazy and very disturbing. So cut to the next day. Susan is showing this new couple around the Quincy house. But the lady, here's a little girl crying. Oh, interesting. And then the man, the couple, both of them, here just screams, hey Cindy, how you doing, girl? Nice to see you. Can you shut the fuck up, please? I'm trying to sell this goddamn house. Yeah, but we knew this was gonna happen, okay? Luke knows what he's talking about. Yeah, and so the couple rushes out. They bolt right out of there like the last couple did. And then Luke just happens to roll up, and he's like, we need to talk to Susan. So they're in the car, chit-chatting. Susan literally just thinks that it's like a little girl spirit. And Luke says, no, this is not just a little girl. It is a cover-up for something that's a lot more dangerous and will kill you, okay? And Susan, like obviously, like, wants to sell houses her way. Like, that's what she's good at. But Luke's like, you need to trust me and what I do and trust the process, okay? Like, it's not everything is gonna be your way, okay? This is hard, and things are gonna get fucked up, all right? So you gotta relax. Getting real pissed off right now, and I am too. She's not listening. She's not listening. Huh? You got ears, babe. Use them. So Luke goes up into the house, into Jamie's room, and gets Cindy to come out so he can see her for himself. She is obviously trying to manipulate him and just like be that little sweet girl whose mommy and daddy like went to the light, but she couldn't. And he's like, I know the games that you're playing. I don't believe you. And then, but he knows what she is. She shows a little bit of her real face to him, just those dark black eyes, those really fucking sharp ass teeth, like a barracuda or something. And then Susan walks in. And Cindy vanishes. Well, like, Susan walks in and Luke's like, get out, I'm doing my job. And then she's like, oh shit, sorry. And then Cindy vanishes. So Luke's obviously pissed off because Susan interrupted his work. Very, very important work. So then we cut to Susan. She's at her mom's house and just ranting about her job, like, blah, blah, blah. She's disappointed in Luke and in the work. She thought things would be different. Everybody hates her. And her mom, who is correct in this statement, is like, you need to be patient and maybe do things not your way. And Susan's like, well, my way isn't perfect, but it's better than theirs. And she's like, I said that out loud. And we're like, yeah, you did, Susan. Okay, so shut up. And then her mom's like, you need to open up to people. You need to see how they do it and maybe try. Okay, obviously they have success for a reason. Back at the office, August is listening to some recordings that they had for the Quincy house around the time that Luke was there, and Luke is obviously in the room. and sees that there's these energy strikes, and every time this happens, it drains the power of this entity. Interesting. So August is like, this beast is really old and cunning, but it has an ego and is distractible because of it. And it only works to inflict pain and sorrow and is ready for Luke. Also, something that was pointed out with August was that in order to, like, he's gonna make this device to stop this, you know, creature or whatever the fuck it is. And in order to do that, you have to get it out in its true form. So that's something that we also have to deal with right now. So Susan is back at the office. She's bringing in coffee for everybody just the way that they like it. How nice of her. And she's trying to kind of compromise with everybody. She's like, hey, Zoe, can you make some sort of database, spreadsheet, whatever, so we could coordinate times and availability of everybody? Do whatever you want. I will use it, okay? Just I need that done. And Zoe's like, okay, I have some ideas. And also, thank you for the very, very complicated coffee order. She, like, quad long shot, blah, 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 with a bunch of extra crap in it. It's crazy. And then Phil, just a straight up black coffee, no room for cream. And she's like, the files. And he's like, no, I'll send them over. And she's like, what? Send them. Whatever you want to send, you can send whenever you need it. I would just like them. And he's like, I can do that. Yeah, so things are getting there. We're being compromising, cooperative now. The repair guy that we saw earlier, he was there. And Susan is like talking with Phil, like, hey, you know him? He's like, yeah, we've met. And then the repair guy comes over, gives Phil a little smooch, goodbye, and then leaves. Huh? What? You're telling me Father Phil is gay? Oh my God. Representation. Yeah. I love queer representation. Thank you. Yeah, and they're actually married too. Love it. I love it. And then Luke and Susan have some quick, just little talk again alone, because gotta be alone for all these talks. Nobody else can know. And he's like, I need you at the Quincy house. They, first of all, fired the Quincy's, the family has fired the Roman agency for obviously not doing their job, but they are doing their job. They just don't want to know what their job is and what exactly they need to do. Anyways, but they obviously, Luke needs to go back to the house anyways, because Jamie, this little boy, is in trouble. There's like a demon after him. This entity they are calling an LRG, which is Little Red's granny. And something that I was thinking about while recording was, it's like this is like name and like metaphor thing, like goes a couple different ways for this like demon. It's kind of dressed up similar fashion Little Red Riding Hood, okay? But it, like, the metaphor of it is like when the wolf is at the granny's house of Little Red Riding Hood, he's like dressed up in grandma's clothes, so he thinks it's all sweet and nice, you know. That's like the real metaphor, but instead of like the grandma, it's like Red Riding Hood. It was weird. Anyways, but I got it later, the name. Anyways, and so it takes a different non-threatening form to seduce and pretty much like eat or suck the soul out of its victim. And so he needs Susan to be there and talk to the parents while he works with Jamie. So they rush over there. Luke's like, I'm going upstairs, you can't stop me. And Susan's like, guys, wait. And she's trying to get the parents to like calm down. And so she's like, I know this seems weird, I know you don't believe in it, I don't either, but Luke is trying to do his job and he's really good at it, okay? And there's things going on that you don't understand, but he does his job and he gets it done and he gets results. So just let him do his thing and we can sell your house, okay? So the parents chill out a little bit and let Luke do his job. So up in Jamie's room, Luke's kind of like setting things up. He takes out this device that August made, and Luke finishes setting up. He gets Cindy to come out and play a game, because she's a little girl. She likes to play games, and she's very manipulative, so everything's a game. And so the game that she has set up is a game of chess. I know a little bit about chess, not a lot. I know it's complicated and it's hard and it's confusing. Okay. And for a child, which Cindy is, hard to play. Okay. And so Luke's starting to push Cindy's buttons and deflate her ego a little bit about this chess game. And she obviously like does not know how to play. So she moves the rook in a way, and Luke's like, no, the rook can only move this way or this way. You're dumb and you're stupid and you don't know how to do anything. You don't know how to play with adults, blah, blah, blah. And oh man, Sandy's getting upset. She's getting upset. And so Luke is able to draw the true form of this LRG, which is like this old like witch hag looking gray thing. Activates the device before Cindy kills him, and it like sucks her all in, and it like dust or whatever. Yeah, and then Jamie and Luke do a little fist bump at the end. Super sweet. So we cut back to like later, next day, whatever. Susan's on the phone with buyers for the Quincy house already. Luke thanks her for what she did, and they have a little nice kind of healing. I wouldn't say healing. They have a nice conversation, kind of not like apologizing, but you know, like getting along. They're not fighting for once this episode. And she invites him over for family dinner because she's gonna go with her mom, but he says no, like take your family time seriously, you're gonna want it, you know. And he knows that because his dad died. Ooh. Anyways, talking about his dad, we have this nice little montage at the end really quickly. So the Quincy house is sold. Susan's enjoying dinner with her mom. Phil and his husband, the repair guy, on the couch reading together. Zoe and August are playing video games at the office, and Luke is back at this Funland place that we saw him at the batting cages last episode. And he's playing mini golf now. An extra ball rolls in, hits his shoe, and then an older man walks out and hits the ball, that extra ball, and puts it right in the hole after Luke misses. So this guy and Luke are talking, and they're talking about angels, and we're like, oh, like angels because it's paranormal. No, they're talking about baseball, which is really funny, and I know baseball, and that's really cute because last episode it was at the batting cages, and his dad's like, well, talking about baseball, when you were at the batting cages like whenever ago, that lady that came up, she's real cute there. And Luke's like, yeah, she's literally a coworker and like and a colleague, like I can't do that. But this older guy's like, you know, you always had trouble with women. And he's like, Luke's like, I've had trouble with women. Do I need you to remind you why the second Sunday of May will always tear him apart? And I was like, oh, that's really sad. Trauma is really sad. Yeah, so that tore me apart a little bit. But then this man disappears, and Luke says goodnight to his dad. Aww, his dad. So now my question is can Luke communicate with the dead? Is he like a medium, or like ghost whisperer or something like that? Like, what does he have some power? Where like, do they all have some sort of power? Or like Susan's telekinetic and he's like a medium or psychic or whatever. Not a savant, a clairvoyant or something like that, you know? Interested. Anyways, Luke shuts off all the lights at the mini golf course and the episode ends. He shuts off all the lights. Does he like work there, own the place? Why does he know how to do that? Like, I can tell like he's alone there, but like, why does he know how to like shut everything off? That's That's what's weird to me. So yeah, so interesting. And that was the episode. I said earlier, I do think this was a step up from the pilot. I think this episode did very well of establishing character dynamics, which obviously in a show you have to build upon. So, but it's nice to see the start of those in the beginning of the season. And Luke and Susan's relationship getting a little interesting. And this episode we really did get to see like kind of what the Roman agency does, which was really nice. Like, what does everybody do in particular? You know, how do these jobs interact and all these things. And so it was really nice to kind of like, this was, I think they easily could have like used the plot of this episode to be a pilot to set up the premise of a show. But they also allowed this episode to kind of set up character dynamics, like I mentioned. So, good episode. I enjoyed it. Obviously, still had some like quick wit humor in there, which was really nice to kind of alleviate some tension with things, but still had scary paranormal aspect and the drama with it. It's very interesting to see Tim in a different character. But this, interestingly enough, a character with some like history and a lot of like background that can be explored, and trauma that doesn't let him like super open up, and everything, but is really just a sweet, like, loving guy. And so the differences are crazy. The similarities are crazier between Luke Roman and Doc Holliday, but it's very nice and cool to see Tim in a lead role, you know, and still have that type of character, which I think is super fun. But yeah, great episode. Interested for 3. I like the where we're going right now with the kind of the monster week sort of thing. I love that setup in shows. It makes it like pretty easy to follow, with some more of the like B plot lines in the episodes being where things come to fruition at the end of the season. You know, just sprinkling little things in, and then it starts to build and build throughout the season, and at the end it's like a boom drop sort of thing. So I like that we're kind of seeing where that's going. I'm interested to see if we get to see Luke's dad again in any way, or if he's gonna come back to the stuff with his mom at the Donovan house. Like, what's gonna go on with that? It seems like we might come back to the Donovan house. I feel like that's gonna be a very constant sort of little plot line throughout the season, which I'm okay with. What's gonna happen with Luke and Megan, or Luke and Susan, you know, interesting vibes. We'll see how things play out. It is only the 2nd episode, so we have 7 more episodes to get to. I believe there's 10 episodes, so we'll see where it goes. Very exciting. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will catch you guys next time. Oh, and before I end this, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bailey's TV Rants. And if you just want to listen to this podcast, you can listen to it wherever you find podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, and make sure, since you're already watching the video here, just like and subscribe, throw anything you want. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys next time.